I expected all the dicks to be massive. You have this idea in your mind and a stereotype and stuff, and it's really not that true. Like, I've had so many experiences that I would never have afforded before. I went to Florence, I've been to Tuscany, Greece, Barcelona, literally all over the world. I was at Sheffield University doing my law degree, and I was like, oh my God, that looks insane, that looks so cool.
Welcome to I Hate Porn, the sex podcast from lustfeed.com. Today's episode is all about how to become a porn star, and I'm joined by Scarlett Jones, who's an up-and-coming British porn star who's on that journey right now. How are you doing, Scarlett?
Hi, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good, and it's
Amazing.
really cool to meet you. It's I've been following you on Twitter and seeing your kind of rise. So
thanks, I guess. Thank you. No, it's amazing to finally speak to you.
And I think you're the third ginger I've had on the podcast already. So.
Oh my God, you're starting a bit of a trend. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best.
A cult.
A cult. Ginger cult.
Yeah.
I love it, yeah.
Before we start, I just want to say to people listening that it's a new podcast. So please, we need all the support we can get. So please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, like it, send it to your friends. Just whatever you can do, we appreciate it so much. And I guess let's get into things. So you're still quite new to porn. When did you start?
Yeah, I'm really new. I started actually in the middle of the pandemic in December 2020. I made the decision to jump into porn. Or I guess porn jumped into me. So yeah, I started then. And so about a year, maybe 13 months, I think I've been doing it.
Okay, that's not long at all. And did you start with professional porn, or it was
no
independent?
So I started in the adult industry when I was 19. I started working in a strip club when I was at university, and
that's cool.
Then it was actually really cool, really really good, really good fun. And
how old are you now? How long ago was that?
It was 6 years ago. I'm 25 now.
Okay.
So yeah, quite a while ago, I guess. So yeah, I've been in the industry actually, about 6 years now. So
okay.
Yeah, that was really good.
So how did you get into stripping?
I literally just decided to, actually. So I was at Sheffield University doing my law degree, and I'd seen on Instagram on my Discover page someone that worked in a strip club there, and I was like, oh my God, that looks insane, that looks so cool. Me and my friends had just been to Amsterdam, and we went to see a sex show and a strip show while we were there, and I was just enamored. I was like, it looks really glamorous and everything, and it's not quite as glamorous as it seems, but yeah, I just thought it seemed like loads of fun, and I just did it. Yeah.
And is that quite common for university students to start working at strip clubs, or?
Actually, yes, quite common, I think. Surprisingly,
really?
When I started working there, actually, a lot of the other women my age were also at university, and it's for a lot of women, I think, kind of like a stopgap, kind of something to help fund you whilst you're at university. And originally, it was that for me as well, and I kept saying, I have to quit before my parents find out. I can't do this for a long time, and what have you. And obviously, here I am 6 years later.
Yeah, and did you have I imagine a stripper, stereotype is kind of very outgoing personality, and I imagine kind of very sexually confident in themselves. Is that how you were, or?
No, not really. No, I went to a Catholic school. I had a Catholic upbringing, so this was the first kind of thing in sex work that I'd ever done. So it was really new for me, but it was so much fun.
And do they teach you how to dance, or did you know how to dance when you started?
No, they didn't. I still don't know, so I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah, no, they don't teach you. They kind of give you the basics, I guess, but no, not really. You just have to kind of do what you can. But a lot of the girls there could do pole dancing, so they could dance on the pole. And I still can't. I'm not very good at that. So I had to kind of get by with talking people's ears off until they succumbed and gave me a dance. So Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I just assumed that you needed to be good at the pole dancing to
No.
to do stripping. It's like that's
No.
what it is in my head.
Yeah, no, I think in America, perhaps there's maybe a lot more talent involved over there than in England. But for me, I didn't do much dancing. I would kind of talk to somebody, and then a lot of my time in the VIP room was spent talking to them. I actually got out of a lot of hard work. Work smarter, not harder. So
yeah, I guess I never thought of that. Like going to a strip club and for the conversation. So it's like a live cam girl.
Yes, very much, very much. Yeah.
So what happened? How did you go from that to porn?
It was a very gradual transition. So I then worked in England. We have something called Babe Station, which in England is obviously very well known, but I don't know about in the rest of the world. So I did that for a few years. And then it was actually because of COVID that I decided I can't just keep Babe Station, like I just can't keep doing night shifts my whole life. It's a bit of a dead end kind of thing. So I thought I want to really take my career to the next level, and that's porn. So then I decided I would do it.
Was that a difficult decision?
It was kind of made for me somewhat. So I have an agent, and originally they planned my debut with one of their particular brands. And then I chickened out at the last minute. I was just too scared. Like, it was such a big deal. And I was like, I just can't do it. And then a few months later, when they'd forgiven me, they forgave me. And then they said, we'll organise you this tour in Budapest. So go do that instead. And I was like, okay. I didn't want to say no again. So I was like, okay, I'll go do it.
I think it is really terrifying. I've had so many girls that say they want to do porn. Yeah. And, we talk about it, we get them to talk to their family about it and all of that stuff. And then flights are booked in last minute. They just don't show up.
Oh my God, I can imagine. Actually, I had a scene recently and the woman just didn't turn up. It was her first, it was virtual reality stuff I was doing, and she just didn't show up. She just never got on her flight. So don't blame her, But.
Yeah. And so let's go backwards a little bit. So did you finish your law degree or? Okay.
I did. Yes, I did. Yeah. So I do have a law degree.
So does that mean do you like help the other models with their model releases? Have you ever read the contract that we sign?
Yes, of course. I actually signed a contract last year. I have an exclusivity with a company, and I was reading through it, and I'm not allowed to change my hair, get any piercings, get any tattoos without prior consent from them. So,
wow,
I do like.
I think you're the first person to ever read a contract.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, there we go then. I'll put it in my Twitter bio. I can read. I am literate, so be careful.
Yeah, it could be like a side gig, just reading contracts.
Reading, yeah. Perhaps. Yeah. Some of them are really bizarre, have really bizarre little clauses in and things you wouldn't think about as well. So I do think it's helpful. Sometimes companies will try and get you to do things that wasn't in the contract. And then, for instance, like you have to promote it on social media, you have to do this and do that. And I'm like, well, I don't actually, so no.
I think if they do good work, you'll want to promote it on social media.
Yeah, whereas exactly.
If it looks terrible, it's like, okay, we'll maybe just pretend that didn't happen.
That's, to be honest, most of my scenes, I don't have many releases yet, but most of mine that are out so far look pretty terrible. I guess it's just the companies, perhaps like a poor production value and stuff, but so often I don't promote my scenes actually.
When you started doing porn, you went from Babe Station and then into professional porn?
Yes, I did. I mean, I've had OnlyFans throughout my time at Babe Station as well. So I did start doing boy girl on there first. So that was actually, I guess, my first amateur kind of stuff. And
that was your first time being like public, having sex on the internet?
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, all my fans were shocked.
How did like friends and family kind of react to that?
So my parents, I've never discussed it with them. They found out about me working in the club via one of my friends. They also found out about Babe Station via one of my friends as well. So I have some brilliant friends.
Nice friend.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I haven't discussed it with them actually, but my friends, a lot of them are in the industry anyway, so I guess it's not a problem. But surprisingly, a lot of the girls at Babe Station are very, I don't know what word you'd use. I'd use the words like, I guess, whorephobic. So they're kind of like judgmental of girls who do boy-girl, who do porn and stuff. So I guess with a lot of them, once I started doing the harder stuff, they weren't interested anymore because I was seen as lesser than them for doing so.
It's very strange how there's this hierarchy with sex workers. And sometimes it makes no sense. Like Babe Station girls will maybe be judgmental of people that do boy-girl, but then they'll be on adult work.
Exactly, escorting, which is completely fine, like, obviously. But it's because they do it under the radar, I guess. So nobody knows about it with them. So it's seen as fine. But it's so judgmental. There is such a big hierarchy. You're completely correct. Really bizarre.
Yeah, in porn too.
Yes, of course,
Girls that do lesbian only will be a little bit more uppity than the girls that do boy-girl.
100%. I completely agree. It's so weird, isn't it? Like, we're all doing the same sort of thing at the end of the day, so...
And it's just personal preference, I think. And did you think about your limits and, like, what you want to do before you started, or are you just going in quite random?
In terms of porn? Do you mean?
Yeah. Like, did you have a plan?
I guess yes. Obviously, I've always, since doing Babe Station, it's kind of, this is my career, now. I could get out of it, but I'm not going to, and I don't really want to. So, yes, I've always wanted to do porn. But in terms of levels, if that's what you're talking about, boy, girl and girl is where I'm at the moment. And obviously, when I got into it, I was thinking I'll never do anal, I'd never do this, never do that. And then these things come along, and often your opinions change, so over time. So yeah,
it's similar to your personal sexuality, I think. You
of course,
kind of master one thing and you think, okay, what's next?
Yes, of course, yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. And I think OnlyFans actually really is also somewhat responsible for that with me, because fans will be like, oh, have you thought about this? Oh, I'll buy you this toy, I'll buy you that. And then you kind of try these things and have fun with it. So I think it's good.
And you started OnlyFans with a boyfriend or independently?
No, independently, when I first started on Babe Station. So I've had it since, I think, 2017, maybe 2018, before it was a big thing. I've had it for quite a while.
Yeah, when it didn't work, I guess.
Yeah. Although
the videos never used to play for me. I was like...
Sometimes it still doesn't
now
work.
Now it works. It's bizarre. Yeah.
For me, like, my live shows are so hit and miss. Sometimes it will just say, it just won't work. And I'll be like, this is, like, so annoying. In fact, once I took an OnlyFans live show onto Zoom instead, which was actually really fun. So there are ways around it. Life finds a way.
Were you a very sexual person before you started doing porn?
I was very sexual in my teenage years, because obviously I had that very strict parents. So I was always looking for ways to try and get around that. However, actually, before porn, I'd only ever had 2 sexual partners in my life, which people never believe.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was very adventurous sexually, but only with 2 people. So.
Yeah. So adventurous, but not promiscuous.
Yes. No, not.
How did it feel doing porn? It must have been unusual.
It's kind of bizarre because you build it up in your head to be this big thing. Like, sex is a big thing, and especially with my Catholic background, sacred, and doing porn kind of makes you realize how base it is to have sex with somebody, and how that barrier can be broken and be kind of meaningless. So it's kind of weird in that way, but also good in that way, because it makes you realize that you don't have to be so strict on yourself as well in terms of promiscuity, like you said.
So before porn, did you feel like it like it would be shameful somehow to see lots of people?
I don't know. I guess like a lot of my friends who are not sex workers have had a lot of partners, and I've heard such terrible things. So to be honest, that put me off. Like one night stands and all these awful stories about like STIs and all this stuff, and I was like, I don't want to get into that world. So obviously, when I eventually did, I thought at least I'm being paid for it, you know, which is great. But I do really enjoy it as well. And my first scene I had was with a great male performer, and it was really good. So that obviously a good experience makes it all worthwhile.
I think so. When you did porn, what was surprising for you? Like, what was not how you expected?
This is one thing I actually expected in porn that isn't real. I expected all the dicks to be massive.
Okay.
I thought, do you know, you have this idea in your mind and a stereotype and stuff, and it's really not that true. Like a lot of them, like the guy I do my OnlyFans content with, is a lot bigger than some of the performers I've worked with in porn. So for me, actually, I was pleasantly surprised because I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do it? It's going to be so hard. I'm so inexperienced. And actually, it was not that bad.
I think people don't realize that often like how big it looks is more important than how big it is. Like a small, skinny guy with an average dick looks so much bigger than...
Exactly. That's so true. But then actually... some small skinny guys they're really big, and I'm always surprised, and I'm like, where did that come from? Like you would never have thought it, I guess. You never know what's going on down there, you know. That's one thing I've learned in porn. So
I read that dick size is generally proportional to height, but it doesn't correlate much. Not much. There's a correlation, but only a small correlation.
There's a small correlation. I understand. Yeah, but like I've seen some really big ones, obviously. Like I worked with Danny D the other week for the third or fourth
he's
time.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you know what it is though? I find personally my preference is the bigger the better, because sometimes if they're really small and like bent awkwardly, it's kind of like I'm not really used to that. I like them a bit bigger, so I really enjoy working with him. It's always great.
Everybody likes him, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's popular.
So when you started in porn, did you think about your image, or even in sex work? Did your like image change because of the work?
Yes, my image has changed an awful lot. When I first started, when I was 19, obviously, my boobs were not as big. But over time, whilst I was at Babe Station, actually, I gained a lot of weight, so I was a lot bigger than this, and so I was kind of like curvier. And I had big natural boobs, a big bum and stuff. And then I did lose the weight before starting porn. So, yeah, my image has changed a lot. But I've always had ginger hair, you know, and I've always had ginger, like, pubic hair. That's kind of my thing as well. And I like to try... When I was at Babe Station, actually, my brand was all natural redhead. So I like to try and get away with that when I can. But it's not quite true anymore.
99% natural.
Yeah, I guess. Give or take one or two things. But yeah, no, I think my image has changed a lot, but not because of porn, just because of personal things that have happened in my life and what have you.
And people, you know, change as they get older.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Did you feel any like pressure to conform to, say, a porn look, or what you thought was a porn look? Not
for porn, no. Only for Babe Station. At Babe Station, there's this really, it's almost like a vacuum in which it exists. So everyone there has a lot of surgery. They all have their BBLs, which is fine. And like, but the thing is, everyone has it. So when you don't, you're like, oh my God, like I've literally got no ass, you know? And it just makes you feel alienated, I guess. But in porn, I'd say no. Actually, I personally find that in porn, there's so many different body types and looks. So no, I don't feel that in porn at all, actually. I think in porn, actually, it's quite a liberated space to be, because you can just look like how you want to, and I think still get bookings and stuff.
I always say to people that anyone can do porn. Like the only thing that matters is how popular you are.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had friends that are not in sex work say to me like, oh, I could never do it. My boobs aren't big enough. And I'm like, some of literally the top porn stars have like, no boobs at all, and they do so well. It's amazing. So, no, I think for porn, like, yeah, I think anyone can do it, like you said.
Not so many people that do OnlyFans make that switch to professional porn too.
Yeah, of course.
So what was your thinking with that?
For me, OnlyFans has always been the side kind of, the side thing for me. It's never been the main thing. I'm lucky enough to make a very good earning on it without really doing anything. So I owe that to my fans. Thank you very much. So
how much do you make, if you don't mind me asking?
It really depends. If it depends if I put work in or not. But to be honest, for me, if I don't put any work in, I only make a few thousand less than if I did. So I just do like stuff like, as obviously you did in my OnlyFans review recently. So I do a lot of selfies, a lot of amateur stuff, just everyday stuff, because for me, doing a full 30-minute porn film is not really going to make me that much money, because people seem to like me for what I genuinely get up to. Yeah, it really depends. Like, the most fans I've had, I think, is 1,100, which isn't that many, but it's because I don't do sales on my OnlyFans either. So yeah, I just keep it casual.
Okay. I'm so bad at maths. So
you're trying to work it out. Actually, the thing is as well, I don't do pay-per-views either. Like, the one thing I hate is, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you take...
I hate when people come to me with criticisms like, oh, you charged whatever for this video, and I just can't be bothered with arguing with them. So instead, I just don't give them anything. I don't do pay-per-views. I don't do customs at the moment, because I just can't. I don't need to. I'm privileged enough to not have to work for extra money, so I'm perfectly fine as I am, just keeping it relaxed.
And 1,000 fans, what is it? Yours is $10 a month?
Like a tenner, yeah, I think so. I think a tenner. I used to charge more, because I used to actually make, when I was at Baby Station, I did a lot of work with it.
I mean, that's good money.
Yeah, like when I first started doing boy-girl. But the thing is, when you start, I became so routine with it. I was doing a boy-girl release every week, a sale every week, and I was so obsessed in my mind. And it's just maintaining that goal, or getting better than that goal in terms of money, that for me is really toxic, because then I'm like, if I don't hit that goal, then I'm like, what have I done wrong? And I'm constantly panicking about maintaining it. So it doesn't work for me to do that. So I just like to treat it like just a side thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like you're not so money motivated. No,
definitely not. But the reason I'm not so money motivated is, as I've already said, because I'm so lucky. Like, I have a house, I've got a car, I've got a family and friends and stuff. So I'm really privileged, and I don't have to. Like, I didn't get into porn for the money. I got into it for the career prospects and the future of it.
What do you feel they are?
For me, sex work as a career, it has to have some longevity to it. And I think the move to porn is, I guess, also for the experience, actually, because since doing porn, I've had so many experiences that I would never have afforded before. So, like, with my agency, I went to Florence last year. I've been to Tuscany, Greece, Barcelona, literally all over the world. And that's something else that is just kind of leveling up from working, in overnight in a studio just off the M1 doing Babe Station. So for me, it's a massive plus.
Work with travel is such a dream. I really love that aspect of porn myself.
Yes. It's such a big thing. And I didn't think it was going to be for me, but it is such a massive privilege to be able to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it's nice to have attention and people fussing over you.
Yeah.
And...
like, some of the productions I do, it is like that. But actually the majority, I feel like sometimes with certain companies, you just kind of feel a bit, I don't know what the word would be, just like a piece of meat, just do this, do that. Yeah. But obviously sometimes, it's not always like that. Most of the time it's really good. So.
Yeah, I think some people are just so into a routine. They're doing it every day. It's just,
they hate it. Yeah, some of them absolutely loathe filming porn, and you can really tell it. It makes the atmosphere not so good.
It's sad, I think, because I think porn should be fun, and And mostly it is. I have had
Yeah.
mostly good experiences.
Yeah.
Just the odd
me
bad
too.
one.
Yeah, me too. No, same here. Same.
What have been your worst points so far?
Oh my God, don't. The thing is, on my OnlyFans, my fans already know all of this, so it's not like any of it's brand new information. But I don't know. There's not actually, to be honest, there's not that many to choose from. This isn't a low point, but this is kind of like an awkward situation. Recently, I was doing a scene for Reality Kings in Budapest with Geordie. Like a contract star with MindGeek, and he's so famous, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a big deal.
He's ridiculously famous.
Yeah,
he's a huge YouTuber as well.
It's unbelievable, and he's such a nice guy. Like, so I got in a taxi with him, and I was having a bit of a chat with him, and then I arrived at the location, and my agent hadn't told me I needed a COVID test because I'd flown in the day before from Lanzarote, so I had no COVID test. So I had to go get my COVID test. And then it turns out they performed the test wrong, so we had to go back again. And then we had a 3-hour wait for the results. And I'm there with this like star, like this is my fault. Like this, oh my God, it's just so embarrassing. I was like, he's gonna think so badly of me. This is just awful. It worked out in the end, but it's just one of those things where it's like, it's not always things don't always go to plan, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, not so many bad experiences, like, really.
Were you worried about anything before you started porn?
Yes, I think. I don't really know what, just everything. I was nervous about getting the flight. I was nervous about my test, like, because I, obviously having 2 sexual partners, I'd never had a full performer test before. So, oh my God, that was a stressful experience.
Yeah.
Like,
so sexual health was a fear.
Crazy, yeah, because just having a blood test for me was such a big deal before porn. I was just such a baby, so naive to it all and scared. So yeah, I was literally anything I was scared before, but now I'm a lot more confident with it.
You feel safe with the sexual health aspect? You know more, I guess?
The thing is, it's so hard because a lot of STIs they test for, so obviously, as you know, it's every 14 days certificate's valid for. Within those 14 days, you could so easily pick up chlamydia, gonorrhea, get tested again, and it's not show up on your test. So it's I personally do think, like, it's a bit scary because you are gambling with your health at the end of the day. And they don't test routinely.
Yeah.
You can't test for herpes, for instance, and just a lot of things that... You
can test for it, but I think everybody has it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing.
90% of people have it. So
yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, sometimes I sit to myself and I think, oh my God, like, I could catch HIV doing this job. Like, and I don't know, it's not going to happen, obviously, hopefully, but I do think it's a risk. And in the UK at the moment, there's a really big culture of people faking their tests. Usually just content.
Even here.
Yeah. I actually saw talent testing the other day tweeted about it, didn't they? Saying performers are faking their tests. And me and Danny D were talking about it as well. And he's had girls turn up with no test sometimes. Like, I just think it's crazy. And I understand people, I guess, do it because it's expensive. In England, the test that I get is £300. So it's expensive. Yeah,
most of the people can't afford that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sad because people are choosing to fake their test because they need to work, because they need the money, and it's awful that they're in that situation ultimately. But obviously it is dangerous for everyone's health.
Yeah, for me, I always found this difficult because I'm actually a huge germaphobe, and then I started doing porn. And it's
that's like the
physical
worst
contact with strangers. Yeah. But,
everything is filthy.
I found that the more I learned about STIs, the more comfortable I got.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And also I found there's a lot of like everybody that's not in porn.
Yeah.
Most of them would think that we're dirty. But
of course.
we're not. I'd say we're a lot cleaner than the average person.
Yeah.
I think just most people get tested so infrequently.
Yes.
That they get STIs and maybe they cure themselves, or they don't even notice they have them.
They don't even notice. This is the thing with me though. I like if I think something's off with my body, like I cancel my scenes, I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. Often it just turns out to be a UTI, which is one thing actually since doing porn that I've had that I before porn never had an issue with. So that's one thing, I guess. Just things like that, not STIs, just infections.
Yeah, we call it like the porn vaccine because we're all sharing this pool of bacteria and viruses that we don't get STIs, but I find the first 6 months in porn, you kind of like sick all the time. You've always got a cold. You know, like if a newborn baby goes to school for the first time, then the parents are always sick. It's like... it's not STIs, but it's just
everything else.
Just infections. It's just all the human contact.
It really is, and I really think because I don't do porn full time, I just do it as and when, like maybe I don't know how often, every few months, I guess. It's crazy. Everyone has a cold, and I'm going to work perfectly fine. And then after a week of being in Budapest, I'm coming home and I'm like, I'm going to die now anyway. So, and then every time I have this dilemma, like, oh, I'm so ill. I've got a cold. Like, I've got another UTI. Like, But, you know, I guess over time, apparently your body can build up a bit of a resistance to it. I've heard. So.
Definitely.
Looking forward to that. Take a lot more vitamins now I do porn, actually. I think I take 6 or 7 a day, different things, just to try and keep on top of it.
Yeah, honestly, that could be the issue. Like when I started, I felt, because having sex while holding a camera is very different to just having sex in a private life. And having sex in porn, you know, in your private life, you're not hammering away for like an hour or 2 hours.
Exactly.
So I felt like I had to work on my fitness, on my health. So maybe just doing porn made me get more fit and healthy.
That's good. That's a good thing. That is definitely.
So I think there's that aspect too.
Yeah, that's something I always notice about male performers. They always have really good bums. I guess more the thrusting, like they have really like peachy bums.
Possibly.
Yeah. So that's a positive.
And girls get really flexible with their legs from the more
that's
awkward
true,
positions,
actually. I mean, I'm still a little bit wooden, working on it.
It's like porn yoga, basically.
Yes. Definitely.
One thing that you said that I think is really important for people that are thinking about a porn career now and how to get into it is you said that you're doing professional porn as and when.
Yes.
And I think you are lucky that you have that freedom because you have your OnlyFans income. That does give you that freedom to pick and choose the jobs.
Of course,
and I think that's really important is if you want a career in porn, it's not the best thing to just work for every single company. I think you can burn yourself out, or you can do things that maybe you're not proud of. Or that...
Definitely. This is something as well, actually. Did you have an article recently about how much do porn stars make in terms of money? I read your article, actually. I read it. And
I broke it into tears.
You did? And I was reading it and I was thinking, I wouldn't do that for that little. When I was reading it. In terms of...
I don't know what your rate is. I haven't asked. But,
this is the thing. In England, I've heard from a few performers that the rate in England is pretty abysmal. But luckily for me, my agent kind of decided my rate for me. And she said, you know, this is what you're going to get paid. Never take any less than this. And obviously your article was talking about the US rates as well, how much they get paid in America. And I was really surprised by that. And after speaking to US agents, that's true. Like your rates in terms of America is completely true. And I always thought they got paid loads in America, like thousands of dollars. And it just seems like that's not the case.
So it was the case that Americans got paid more than Europeans. But your agent specifically has recruited like higher quality models in Europe. And now the cost of shooting in Europe is more expensive than in America.
Wow.
So generally, if I was going to be filming, I probably wouldn't shoot in Europe because I can get more famous models for less money in America.
Oh my God, that's
and
crazy.
They speak English, you know, like you speak English, which is great, but all these Russian models, I can't do anything with them.
I know.
It's like I can film sex, but that's it.
And I think the personality in terms of porn is what really is necessary, you know, to stay in it for a long time. And a lot of girls I know in England think, you know, it's just having sex on camera, but it's really not. You have to really create a fan base. You have to nurture a fan base with it in order to stay relevant. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, you know. Yeah,
people forget that. Yeah, they really forget. I think that if people are attracted to you, you can get so far and make some good money. But if your fans fall in love with you, then that's how you really explode.
100%.
It sounds funny to say love, but I think,
no, it's true. I have fans. They have my personal WhatsApp. I have a little group on WhatsApp actually with my fans in it. A few of them, maybe 8 or 9, that I've known for the last 6 years that have followed my career and are very loyal. And I'm really lucky to have OnlyFans members that have been there since 2017, and I think that's really the difference. And that's a thing about being English, I think, that is really a benefit because it does allow you to talk to them easier and connect with people as well.
And I think to be successful, you have to nurture fans in English-speaking countries.
Yes.
Because in Germany, for example, no one has a credit card or not one that they can really use. So it's hard to make money there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
With Italians, everything's cash. Most of them don't even have bank accounts, I believe. So it's again.
Oh wow! So it's quite a difference.
In France is a really good one.
Yeah.
But you need to speak French and build your French fan base then. So if you don't speak good English and you're not prepared to put your personality out there, it's very difficult to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So Americans and Brits have an advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Americans especially, obviously, kind of in America, there's that image of a porn star, isn't there, you know, and there's that kind of stardom around it that I think in Europe is not such a big thing. And especially in the UK, there's barely any porn sites in the UK to shoot for anymore.
I think the UK industry kind of is its own worst enemy, personally. I remember when I started mine, I was lucky that I just moved abroad because I just was, you know, I was sat there working from home and it was raining and I thought, why am I working in a rainy country when I could be
stupid?
So I moved to Italy and went to the sun, you know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Honestly, if we hadn't left the EU, perhaps I'd be doing the same.
Oh, you still could. You still could, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe somehow,
but yeah, I started networking with the British industry and they were so old-fashioned with their thinking and none of them like could do social media well.
Yeah.
None of them, everything on their site was just like these bad videos, bad design. Everything looked like it was designed in the 90s. Cheap, trashy. Like everything was filmed in like a really cheap apartment, you know,
travel lodge,
really cheap house with like old wallpaper and or travel lodge. Or, it was horrible. And it was run by old men and they would argue over like who's a gilf and who's a milf. And this was like the...
So weird. It's so weird.
And there was a lot of sleazy behaviour as well.
100%. Yeah, there really is a lot of sleazy behaviour in the UK. And I think it's a shame. There's a lot of models, male and female, that have really good potential, but unfortunately kind of get a bad experience, then it puts them off for life. So
absolutely. And I think even on the sexual health side, I remember there was a problem with labs in Europe.
Yeah.
Not all of them being up to a good standard.
Really?
And all the porn industry was in a group chat and we decided to have some standards and make all the standards uniform.
Amazing, yeah.
So the most important one for me is to do PCR tests for HIV.
Of course.
Which means that it's detected within 10 days of infection. whereas the ELISA test, which we were using, is up to 3 months. So, and in the UK, the industry, they all spoke together and they said, oh, we don't want Europe telling us what to do. The NHS says that the ELISA test is good enough, so that's what we're using. And it's like they expect the NHS to provide them, the porn industry, with free testing.
Exactly.
And I think that's disgusting thinking.
Unbelievable.
Like, the NHS isn't there to serve the porn industry.
No, exactly. It's there for people who need it. And I just think that's terrible. It's obviously working with browsers in the UK, you do need PCR HIV. But
browsers are excellent.
100%.
Really excellent.
Any MindGeek company I've worked with have been amazing. But like a lot of content creators in the UK, like you just said, they do use the free NHS tests and they do it every 30 days. And they're messaging me saying, do I want to work with them? No, I'd rather probably get run over because it'd probably be a bit safer than... It's unbelievable. I just think it's so dangerous and stupid.
And there isn't even any proof that the test is real.
They just get a text.
You can have a certificate signed by a doctor, but...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because we'd go back and get a certificate and have it stamped and your name on it and signed. But even that's not enough, I think, because they can be faked. So.
Unbelievable. That's the thing. Like, and actually, strangely, I found a lot in porn in general, people don't show you their test sometimes. Like, sometimes people are a bit cagey about it, which is always a bit of a red flag. Yeah.
And I don't want to be too negative on the UK, because I think what's been incredible about OnlyFans is I think there were so many models and just creative people in the UK that wanted to make porn or make sexy content, and they had no way of having that career.
Of course.
And it's really revitalized the industry. And some of the stuff people are doing is amazing.
So creative,
like Belle Delphine is probably the best example.
Yeah.
But like some of the things people are doing is amazing. I think it's really incredible what people are doing. I just think that it could be a bit safer.
Yeah,
and I hope that they find a way of lowering costs of testing or something like that.
Yeah, I really hope so, because it's really extortionate. £300, for a full test. And luckily my fans pay for it for me. I do a little campaign on OnlyFans and they fund it for me, which is amazing. But not everyone has that privilege. Nice. So not everyone can do that.
That's good advice for people, though, is that, if your fans want to see porn, maybe they can chip in. Exactly.
Whenever I go and do porn, I say to them, you've got to pay for my hotel, my flight, my test, and then I'll go. And I know I don't actually say it like that. I'm not so much like that. They're just they are really nice.
I can't imagine you being bossy.
No, I do domination stuff every now and again, but not very regularly.
Really?
Yeah.
You?
No, I do enjoy it actually. Sometimes, but no, they're really generous. My fans are amazing. I have this one particular fan who buys me all my lingerie from Honey Birdette for my scenes. Like, I have some stuff coming up at the end of February with Rocco, and he's bought me all my underwear, especially for all of the scenes, like a set per scene. It's just amazing. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my fans, so I'm always very grateful to them.
It comes across.
Thanks.
And especially when I joined your OnlyFans, I was like, not many models share their life or share negative things as well.
I don't care.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. Actually, on my live shows in the past, I have had a bottle or two of Prosecco, and they tipped me to drink it. So, for instance, $10 to $20, and I'll have a little shot,
Yeah.
And they're dangerous because I'll talk about anything with them when I'm drunk. They could ask me anything and I'd tell them the truth. So it's a dangerous place.
I think openness is the best because it shows you're human.
Yeah, of course.
It's more relatable. Like, if we present like this perfect life, then I don't think that's as interesting as if
I guess
you're a real thinking person.
That's true. Yeah, they can see all my highs and my lows.
If you think of your closest friendships, they're probably with people that can be vulnerable with you, and you can be vulnerable with them.
Of course, 100%. That's really true, actually. And I think perhaps, like you said, about Russian performers or performers that don't have a good level of English, I think sometimes they have a lot of followers, but I always think, like, how many of those fans actually want to get to know you as well, and how many can. So
we're getting towards the end now. But I just wondered if you were starting your porn career again now, would you do anything differently?
I would, yeah, massively. Number one, I'd start sooner. I would have probably started when I was younger.
Okay.
And not listen to everybody who told me not to do it, because I have had a lot of people saying, don't do it, you'll regret it, all this stuff. So I would have started personally for me sooner. There'd be a few companies I probably wouldn't bother working for. I might have been a bit more picky with who I work for. But I think apart from that, no, like my agent is amazing. I've recently took on a PR agent as well in America. And yeah, no, I don't have any regrets really.
And what advice would you have for people that want to emulate you and have a porn career of their own?
Do you know, I don't know really. Let me think. Just have a good agent.
Like, let's say, have a good agent.
I mean, you don't really need an agent, to be honest, necessarily. I think one thing that's really helped me, I find I have a lot of recurring bookings with the same companies over and over and over. Be friendly to everybody, the makeup artist, the director, everybody who's there. Like, just be friendly with them. Don't be, I've heard stories obviously about performers acting not so nice and kind of being sucking up to the director but nobody else. And I think like everyone deserves respect, and just treat everybody with respect, I think, and then there's no reason you can't do well.
What would your advice be to someone in the UK that wants to get started in porn? Like, where do you think they should start?
Like I always say to people, so first you need to come up with like a stage name. So you need.
I was wondering about that. If your name, it doesn't sound...
Well, yeah. I mean, you'll never know, but
True.
But yeah, I would always recommend getting a stage name because it's just safer that way, especially for entry into the USA on holiday and stuff. It can be a bit of a red flag if you have a big porn personality. But yeah, I'd recommend doing that, getting social media. Using social media like TikTok, I think is a really good way of getting started now for somebody. And then, yeah, just, I guess, getting an agent and just going and doing work in Europe, I would say. That's, I guess, all the advice I can offer, because it's hard to start from the ground up, isn't it, with no fan base, and you can't really start on OnlyFans unless you already have some fans. So
that's what I like to tell people is if you're not sure if you can make a career of it, like see if you can grow on Instagram first, because Twitter or then you're probably not going to be popular in porn either.
That's hilarious.
It's brutal, but it's better to find out before you put sex videos on the internet.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think social media is an amazing tool nowadays, obviously, that we can make the most of. So I would definitely recommend doing that.
And I think the more followers you have, the higher rates you can charge for porn.
I'm not sure. I think so. Like to say I've only been in porn a year and before I've never done it, I think my rate's quite good. Like sometimes I work with some performers in Europe, and at the end of the scene we're getting paid and their rate's so low, and I'm just like, oh god. But I think especially in the UK, a lot of girls kind of expect it to be really poor, so that's all they charge. Like it's not good, and then I feel really guilty as well. But yeah. So yeah, and also that's
feel guilty.
Yeah, I guess the thing is we've both done the same amount of work. Like we should be paid equally, I guess, for equal work. So
but like Leonardo DiCaprio wouldn't get paid the same money as an actor with no pull. Like
that's very true. That is very true.
If you sell, like some models sell, some don't. That's just the brutal truth.
That is true. Yeah.
Like the way I see it is some models, people won't cancel their subscription because they're on your site, but they won't join because of her. Whereas some models will drive your sales.
That's very true. That's something I definitely have like my fans they want to know what scenes are coming out, so they join and actually I had fans send me the photos from the scene. They were like, I joined especially to buy these photos to send them to you so you could see them. I was like, thanks. That's very nice.
Yeah, and that's important, I think. If that's why you need that Twitter following and Instagram and a fan base, not just for your OnlyFans, but for to get work, I think.
Yes. No, I definitely agree. Yeah.
Cool. And has porn changed you in any way? Like good or bad?
I don't know about porn necessarily changing me, but I think obviously my priorities have changed as I've got older. So when I was a bit younger, when I was at Babe Station and what have you before porn, I was, I guess, a bit more money focused in terms of spending money. Like, I've never been a big spender, I'm a big saver. But now, especially, I'm like very not materialistic anymore, I guess. Like, since doing porn, I'm like, well, I'd rather save it and just be happy as opposed to focusing on material gain. But that's not necessarily in relation to porn, that's just generally, I guess.
I think that's a success thing. Like when you first start making a lot of money, it can be quite addictive and it doesn't make you happier. You have to kind of learn that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's still hard though, I guess, because you do, and you do a lot of scenes and you're waiting to get paid and you're like, oh, I just paid my tax recently as well. Obviously in the UK, we have a big lump sum to pay in January. And I'm like, oh my God, like I need more money, but yeah.
Yeah, come to Budapest, it'll be a lot lower.
Really?
Oh yeah, a lot lower.
Oh my God. No, don't tempt me. Yeah, it's very expensive over here to be self-employed.
Yeah.
That's some other advice, actually, if you're going to do porn or anything like that. Get an accountant and don't not pay taxes, because I know girls at Babe Station that are in hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of debt now because they never bothered to declare their income and they obviously got found out. So keep everything above board as much as possible.
Yeah, and you'd think people would realize it's not a cash business. Everything's going through your bank account and it's all trackable.
Yeah, exactly.
So it does,
and you need it as well. Like you need accounts, for a mortgage for a house, for a loan for a car, all these things you need proof of income, and you can't just get by on not paying tax because as much as maybe you'd like to, you have to think about the future, and it's really important to have a paper trail behind you as evidence of earnings.
Yeah. And if you don't want to pay tax, then you have to do what the YouTubers do and move to Madeira or Malta or Cyprus.
Yeah.
If you're in the UK, definitely you got to pay tax.
If you're a little person like me, I guess obviously big business as well, like Amazon gets certain breaks, but I'm not quite on that level of income yet.
Maybe one day though.
Maybe one day. If I would not want to be.
I want to be the Amazon of porn.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't know. I think I'd give it all away first, but yeah.
Do you think girls measure their success like between each other? Is there like a rivalry with money?
With money?
With income?
I don't know. Like in terms of porn, I've never experienced it.
And maybe it's more of a guy thing.
Maybe that's something else about porn. Like male performers, their pay is so meager in comparison as well.
Well, it depends. If they drive sales, they'll get paid more than the girls.
Yeah,
it's just.
I guess that's true, but yeah, like I don't know about competition in terms of money. I know in terms of OnlyFans in the UK, yes, massively. People always over-exaggerate their earnings.
Yeah,
they always brag about it. And personally, that I always think is, for instance, Amazon again. If I hear that they've made 18 billion in 2 minutes, or if I've heard the company down the road is in a lot of debt and they've got no money, I'm a lot more likely to give my money to the lower earner than the higher earner because they're already privileged enough. So I personally would never show off or brag about my earnings because it's going to alienate my customers as well, I think. So
Yeah, it's interesting.
For me, anyway. I would never do that. I know a lot of girls do fine, but not for me.
It's interesting if you're living this luxury lifestyle with Gucci bags and
that's not me.
Lots of expensive brands around you.
Yeah.
And then your fans are like, why am I tipping?
Exactly. That's the thing, because they're going to think, the thing is as well, a lot of the fans that I have, they're hard workers, they work often shifts, they work really hard for their money, and they often don't have a lot of it to spare. And if they're giving it to me, I want to be appreciative. I don't want to be bragging and saying, oh, guess what I've spent it on this month? What unnecessary luxury item I'm going to waste it on. I want them to think that I'm doing something good with the money and that I'm actually grateful for it.
What do you tend to spend your money on? You said you're more of a saver.
Food. I really don't buy into material things. I don't know, like, I'm currently saving to buy a house. Well, I could buy a house, but the political climate in the UK at the moment's very volatile, so I'm waiting to see what happens in terms of house prices. But I was lucky enough to buy my first house when I was 21, which is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Apart from that, I just buy... I have got a granddad. He's 89 this year, so I see him every week, and I spend money on him a lot of the time, and my cat.
That's really nice.
So, yeah, that's about it.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I guess we should definitely tell people where they can find you.
Yes, of course. So you can find me, obviously, on OnlyFans. I'm not sure what my link is, like my Earl thing, but I have Twitter and Instagram. My Instagram is Scarlett Jones Official, and my Twitter is Scarlett Jones UK. And you can find everything else via there, I think. So,
yeah, and we'll put the link to everything in the podcast, of course. And thanks so much for joining me on the podcast. I was really, really, really curious to meet you because, you do have this kind of very wholesome look, but also a glamorous look, and it's hard to pin you down.
Wholesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Thanks very much.
It is a compliment,
thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, and if people want to, find out more, they can message Scarlett or me if you have any questions. And check out my site, which is lustfeed.com, where you can read lots of interesting articles about porn, about sex, and even watch some porn. So thanks so much, Scarlett.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.